It shows the fact that LeBron James, in fact, can't carry the Lakers without Luka. Neither can Austin Reeves. Not against the good teams. Period. That brings me to my next topic, guys. And, actually, I'm going to read off a super chat from Jim. Love your broadcast. Thank you so much, Jim, for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. So, yes, we're going to move on to the next topic. We're going to talk about Mike Malone and the fact that he was fired just right before the playoffs, which pretty crazy, right? I can't imagine how the Denver Nuggets are adjusting to this. I think that this is something that is going to impact the team quite negatively. To fire your head coach literally right at the end of the season is crazy, totally crazy work by the Denver Nuggets. And, it made me really think. I'm like, did something HR related happen? Like, why would they let him go right at the end of the season before the postseason? Why wouldn't they want to run with their most winningest coach in the last decade? I thought that that was really, really interesting, to say the least. But we're going to get into it. Uh, like I said, this was reported yesterday. It was breaking news. I personally, I couldn't believe it, but shocking details. And this was reported by fadeaway.net. Shocking details behind Michael Malone's exit. Preferential treatment toward Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. I mean, I thought that perhaps maybe there was some friction between Mike Malone and Jokic and Jamal Murray. I just really, I'm like, what would cause this? And so the article continues, it goes on, and I'll read it to you. It's rare for an NBA team to fire their coach a few games before the playoffs, but the Denver Nuggets felt that they desperately needed a change in the locker room after losing their fourth straight game on Sunday. In the hours since his departure, more details have emerged on what went wrong, starting with preferential treatment toward the star players. Some players, he just rubbed them the wrong way because he's a hard-nosed coach, said Chris Broussard. Not quite as hard on Jokic and Murray, still coaches them hard, but not quite as hard on them, which rubs some guys the wrong way. Malone was very old-fashioned with his approach, and it's why he catered to his stars while favoring older veteran players like Russell Westbrook. His attachment to Westbrook is what fed into his beef with GM Calvin Booth. Malone and Booth had been at odds over everything from roster construction to the way players were used, creating tension that started to bleed into the rest of the organization. Booth wanted Malone to use younger players that he drafted and wanted Malone to stray away from using veterans for so many minutes. Jalen Pickett is a good example of this, according to league sources. Booth was dismayed that Malone went with Russell Westbrook over Pickett down the stretch of multiple games last week. The problems can be traced back to the summer of 2023 after they let Bruce Brown walk in free agency. One by one, the Nuggets lost pieces of their championship core, hoping to replace them with young and unproven talent. Malone didn't agree with that direction and continued to lean on more established veterans like Russell Westbrook and DeAndre Jordan. The lack of results and difference in ideologies created a rift between Malone and Calvin Booth, who engaged in a brutal Cold War behind the scenes. It tore the team apart and jeopardized their future. In the end, the Nuggets management chose to fire both parties instead of picking one side or the other. Together, they created a toxic environment that was causing some cracks from the inside out. With Nikola Jokic's future on the line, the Nuggets didn't want to take any chances, and they knew tough calls had to be made. The final straw was their recent losing streak, which now has them fighting to avoid the play-in tournament. At fourth in the West, 47-32, the Nuggets have been reeling lately, and now they are only a half a game up from the eighth seed. To save their season and bring their team together, The Nuggets opted for a clean slate, and now they will forge a whole new identity. The problem is that the NBA playoffs are right around the corner, and the Nuggets are facing a tough road ahead. I couldn't agree more. I mean, this article, obviously, they're just sharing the facts. They're sharing what has been reported. But quite frankly, the Nuggets do face a tough road ahead. They could benefit from being the 8th seed, or they could not, depending on who they get in that first round. But quite frankly, I mean, your coaching staff needs to be on the same page. Just like any job that you have, even in my job, my leadership, we all need to be aligned. If we're not aligned, then we cannot lead the team properly. If one coach is saying something different from another coach, or even at work on a day-to-day basis, if I'm saying one thing and my managers are delivering a different message to their teams, then I'm not going to drive the results that I need to drive at work, because my team is not rowing in the same direction. And it starts with the top. It starts with the leadership above and the executives, the organization, the ownership has to agree and align. Then that does have to cascade right down to the executives in the organization, down to the coaching staff. Whether you're an assistant coach, a defensive line coach, whatever you are, you have to be in alignment, and you have to be willing to row in the same direction as the rest of the team, top to bottom. So I do think that Mike Malone was giving preferential treatment to Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Nikola Jokic is not a two-way player. He doesn't defend. So he's out there delivering really tough messages, having really tough conversations with players, giving super inspirational speeches about looking in the mirror, delivering max effort on both sides of the court. But is he targeting those conversations to his captains, to his star players? Is he having those tough conversations with Jokic and Jamal Murray? Probably not. He's favoring them. He's giving them star treatment. And that kind of leadership, that is not respected by the core of the team. The whole team is not going to row in the same direction if everyone is not held to the same standard and they're not being held accountable. So accountability has to go all around. It has to be for everybody on the team. You can't be asking one player to do something that you're not asking others to do. And that really is the bottom line. So I'm going to play some sound from Mike Malone, and we're going to hear Shaq and Candace Parker even respond and react to Mike Malone's firing. And this is shocking for the NBA world to see. But the Denver Nuggets, they clearly made a decision that was best for their organization. They are not playing around. They want a good working environment for their players. So they're clearly creating a player-first environment where people, they want to create a destination for players to come to play. To me, that's what this decision says. When there's a toxic work environment, they're taking out the people who are toxic. Forget being the winningest coach of the Nuggets. We want a coach who's going to come in and drive a culture. And so Mike Malone, his voice stopped being heard. That's what's clear to me out of this. But I'm going to play some sound from Mike Malone and the TNT crew.
Dude was a foreshadowing. Take a listen.
My job is to be honest. It was a brutally honest message, and the guys that are full won't hear it. They'll say coach is tripping, and the guys that maybe do really care will, because they're not going to go back and watch their minutes, because nobody watches their minutes. Nobody watches film. We'll have to show them the film. And I said, if somebody disagrees with me, please speak up. And nobody said a word. Each guy's got to look themselves in the mirror and start coming to each respective game with the proper mindset and have some pride.
Also today, the general manager of the team, Calvin Booth, was also let go. And if you watch TV at all today, it was pretty clear that those two didn't like each other, according to all reports. But the move is shocking based on the timing with 3 games left. Candace, I'll give you the first crack at it.
I think gone are the days that we see a Jerry Sloan, a Greg Popovich, and Eric Spoelstra. Let's just be honest, because the more player empowerment, the money that the players are going to receive, I think it's the more power. And that Minnesota loss, I think, broke them. And you could see. What is
the
it?
Overtime game a week ago.
I think that overtime game, I do. That was kind of feast or famine. And to be honest with you, I'm not in the locker room. I don't know. But at the same time, Jerry Buss, I think he said it best. A coach has your attention for 5 years. And that was his philosophy with things. And I think we're going to see a lot more turnover. And gone are the days of the old respect. I think now the NBA is a copycat league. The coaches are getting younger. If you look at it, 10 coaches in the NBA are 45 or younger. You think about Missoula and what they did in Boston, and I think everybody's taking notice of that. You talk about how Golden State changed the way that the game is played in terms of shooting. I think front offices are looking at how can coaches hold their players' attention for longer. And I think that that's going to continue to happen. And you think about JJ Redick and that hire, I think gone are the days of long tenured coaches because of the need to win now when you're spending billions of dollars on a roster to try to fight for a championship.
My only thing is the timing of it all. And I'm thinking of, if I'm thinking as a player, now we're 3 games out of play-in into playoffs. And this is the time we're trying to get ourselves, our roster, the way we're going to play, our rotation, all of these things. We're in the 4th, so we have home court advantage. We're playing for an opportunity because they're still good enough. It's not like this team is not good enough, injuries or whatnot. And I get it. Sometimes you need to change the voice, and maybe you have that meeting or something, and you do that later. It just the timing just bothers me, and I get it. If there's something bigger than what we're thinking, where it needed to happen immediately, that's fine. But it's like, when I'm going into the playoff, you want your leader, you need your voice, and I get it. Sometimes the voice is not carrying over, so you need to figure it out. But February, if you're not sure, like all of a sudden, I feel like now needs to happen. With 3 games left, moving to the playoffs, when we're trying to make a run to win a championship, when Jokic is one of the best in the game, you still have an opportunity. Anything can happen in the playoffs. That's the only thing that bothers me.
I would have liked it to be done a little more professional. The winningest coach in Denver won a championship. They still fall in the formula of possibly winning another championship. Despite what's going on, you want to have some type of home court advantage. Right now, they have that. And for all you idiots out there that think you have to have a smooth season to win a championship, that's false. I can tell you that for a fact. My first one was smooth. My second one was not smooth. My third one was rough. The fourth one, we lost to Detroit, went and got another one in Miami. That was not smooth. Everything he said at the beginning was correct. Kudos to him for holding these players accountable. A lot of these guys ain't held accountable no more because, like Candace said, the money and the likes and all that. I had 2 coaches like that held me accountable. That's why I can easily sit up here and say, I got 4. Bill Jackson got in my ass all the time. Pat Riley got in my ass all the time. And he's correct. His seating is the way it is because Murray was injured and Gordon was injured. But despite all that, despite what's going on, they still have some type of home court advantage. When we won in Miami, we were awful the whole year. We got beat by Chicago by 40. We had a meeting. We started fighting. GP and D-Wade was going there. Me and Antoine was going there. And then, because
we should have beat y'all, by the way.
That's right. Y'all should have. But, the season is about peaks and valleys, right? As long as you peak at the right time. Like, doesn't matter what happened in the regular season. If I got home court advantage and we play pretty good at home and I got Murray stepping up and I got Gordon stepping up and we make it to the second round, we have a chance. So I would like to see him, if it didn't work after a year, say, Coach Malone, thank you for what you've done. But to let him go now,
Shaq, but you said something
before the playoffs.
But you said something that jumps out. A locker room that's yelling, loud, full of passion, that's a locker room that wants to fix things. He said nobody said anything. So to me, a quiet locker room where nobody wants to say anything, that's the scary part. And when you have a team that does not want to step up, take accountability. Jokic had a 60-point triple-double. I think, what else could this man possibly do? And so I just think that it's at a point, and I love Coach Michael Malone, but at the same time, if you're an organization, I think it's the why wait philosophy now.
Right.
Yeah, but you don't do it now.
And that's what Shaq is saying.
For the playoffs.
What's interesting is, and the question that we'll have to wait for the answer is, what is the benefit of doing it now? If you believe that the coach has lost the locker room, and then what he's saying is he's the winningest coach in your franchise, then you're going to make a move, give him the respect of finishing the season, unless you think that a change is going to spark it.
Yeah, but even if you do lose the locker room, it's the job of the players to step up.
Gotcha.
And then you're putting the pressure on now your new coach, Adelman, to go into the playoffs with a team that is very capable with home court advantage right now to win. Because it's not like we're in this 8th seed, 7th seed, and whatever. We're in the 4th seed.
Yes.
That's a lot of pressure.
Gone is the respect for somebody. When Luka got traded, I think
that's
all of
interesting.
that, I think all of that went out the window.
That's one.
Let's pivot to our first game.
Guys, I mean, gone are the days where you're seeing these long tenured coaches. Teams are making decisions to win now. And that's the bottom line. Teams want to win now. Teams want players to be happy so that they can get the best results. And think about it. Even for yourselves, when you go to work every day, a lot of people don't want to go to a job that they're unhappy with. A lot of times people feel like they need to have a sense of community at work. They need to be working in a good culture and environment. So that is the name of the game. People, they don't work for organizations, they work for people. So coaches, they need to be player coaches now. And they need to be able to give feedback that people can hear and players can hear. So hopefully the Nuggets can find someone to drive that culture, to drive that winning culture and bring that back to their team. But we just don't know. We don't know what this postseason is going to look like. So, you know, I appreciate you guys all for watching. I hope that you guys have a wonderful Wednesday, and wish the Denver Nuggets luck. They're going to need it heading into this postseason. They really are. But yeah, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Share the video. That's really important. Let's get this the word out there about Sports Tea. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like I said, get these likes up for me. Where are we at with likes? We have, how many likes do we have right now? 102 likes. We have like 200 people watching. Can we get the likes up to 150? Come on, guys, let's go. Let's get these likes up. Come on. Alrighty, but thank you so much. Salute to everybody in the chat. I didn't have time to take phone calls, but I will take them later when we get into a really, really great topic tonight. So I look forward to seeing you guys all there. And yeah, happy Wednesday and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.